There are those with Trump derangement syndrome in my social media comments who love to say, well, Trump met with Xi Jinping. Yes, he did. Of course, he has to. The role of the president is to meet with foreign leaders, foreign dignitaries. That is the role. You have to do that. That is foreign diplomacy. That is foreign relations. You have to do those things. But it's different from saying, okay, we're going to meet on neutral ground, or I'm going to go there, or you're going to come here. But it doesn't mean we're going to embrace you as an ally or put our stamp of approval on your ideologies or the things that you believe in. And in essence, turn a blind eye to the atrocities of what you're committing, what your goals are, and what your ambitions seem to be when it comes to our own freedoms. So I've seen people say, well, all those people out there in San Francisco standing on the street, they're just waving. Those are Chinese people waving the Chinese flag. Okay, well, then go back to China. There's a reason why you live in America. You may be a Chinese American, but there's a reason why you live in America and not in China. So stop raising and waving that damn flag. You take a guy like perfect example, Yao Ming, who was, the most famous Chinese NBA basketball player, maybe the only one. Hell, I don't know. But obviously he was very well known. I mean, there's a 7'2" Chinese guy comes to America, has to play in the NBA. They pay millions of dollars. And you know where most of that money goes to? It went back to the Chinese government. They had watchers. They had people making sure that he behaved. They had people making sure that he paid his taxes, his tithe, his money, his whatever, his homage right back to his homeland, which was communist China. And so if you're living here and you're still a Chinese citizen, you earn an income here. Guess what? You still got to pay the piper. You got to pay the boss, the dictator, the overlord. You got to send money back to China. So if you love China so much and not the American way of living, and you don't want to assimilate as an American citizen and live an American lifestyle, go back to China. It's that simple. It's that simple. But Chinese people are, no. I guarantee you they're not going to take Xi Jinping down to Chinatown and see if they could find him some fried rice. That's not, that again, everybody say, well, that would be racist to do that. Why? Because so much of it is Americanized. So much of it, they're not, in Chinatown is one thing. I mean, it's reasonably authentic in San Francisco's Chinatown. But imagine, I don't think they're going to take him over to the buffet. They're not going to take him to the, happy family across the street from. Oh, I could go off on this thing forever, dude. Pisses me off, Brandon. Pisses me off, dude. I don't know how you guys feel about that deal, but I think if you want to be an American, be an American. That's just the way I feel about that whole deal. All right. Texas A&M, Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, he ordered state universities to end their diversity statement requirements earlier this year. But there's a new investigation that finds these departments are still hiring based on ideological conformity and racial preferences. For instance, Texas A&M. They've been playing this double game since its extensive commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion were exposed last year. So on one hand, this is from a Blaze Media article, blaze.com. From the new website, you need to go check out the blaze.com. The university's leaders have buried the radicalness of programming so they could deny that A&M is practicing DEI. On the other hand, leaders have redoubled their DEI commitments in defiance of an executive order from Governor Greg Abbott and the express will of the Texas legislature banning the use of DEI statements in faculty hiring. They're defying the order. So in other words, they're just going to do it anyway. It's sort of like when they got rid of affirmative action. And they made affirmative action illegal in America, and these colleges and universities, they just found another way around it. It's just like whenever they said we're going to take CRT, critical race theory, out of the curriculum in certain parts of the country for our kids in their schools. They just found another way around it. They couched it in things like social emotional learning. So these people, their games are not just because you pass a law, just because you pass legislation, just because you write a letter or you make something out there illegal, or even tell them we're not going to practice that anymore. They're still going to do it. So they're defying the legislature at Texas A&M. They're defying the governor's order. They're basically asking candidates for a cover letter when they apply that will contain a past or planned contribution to advancing diversity. So An IT manager must be champion of, quote, workplace diversity and inclusiveness. A senior graduate student specialist must, quote, work to enhance the diversity of the students. It just goes on and on and on. Now, here's the problem with that. Here is the problem. You already know the problem with this. And when I start talking, you're going to say, yeah, we know that. But I want to remind you guys, this is exactly what's going on, for instance, across a lot of professional fields out there with diversity hires. If your main focus is diversity candidates, you don't care about excellence in the job, in the workplace, in the world of education. You're not caring about pursuing truth. You're just about looking diverse, and it becomes a joke. So now you are producing mediocrity. You're producing subpar performance. You don't have the results that you need to have. Science is no longer science. Math is no longer math. The pilot can no longer fly the plane. People can't even get your damn order straight at McDonald's because, again, they hired you on the basis of something that had literally nothing to do with the elements of the job. You know, I'm in a, but then you're going to defy governmental legislation and say, we're going to do this anyway. It's so important to us. It's so important for us to pursue mediocrity and subpar performance based on stupid things like skin color or sexual preferences or pronouns or how somebody identifies with a gender. That means so much to us that we're willing to literally shit the bed in our academic field of study. We don't care. I mean, imagine obtaining a discipline. Imagine working your ass off your entire life. You pay tens upon tens of thousands of dollars to educate yourself. You want to go to the finest school. Again, I hope that our kids aren't out there picking schools on the basis of what frat they can go to or what the football team does on Saturdays or what the color schemes of the mascots are. I hope that our kids are choosing a field of discipline so they can go to school, not as an extension of high school, but they can go to college to truly discipline themselves in the arts and sciences so that when they come out, they can be a contributor to society. But they're not doing that. And our schools are not encouraging that. Well, let's make sure that we're diverse. Well, what does diverse get me? What does diverse get? Because let me tell you something. We had Frank Easterling on yesterday. Frank was in the Army. Frank was a Marine. Frank was in the desert out there diffusing bombs for our military. Now, Frank is a black man. They did not pick Frank on the basis of his skin color to go out there and defuse bombs. They didn't give a damn about the diversity hire. They didn't care. They wanted to know, was he smart enough? Was he capable enough? Was he bold and brave enough, courageous enough, and had the wherewithal to act under pressure to go out there and cut the right freaking wire? It doesn't matter what color your skin is if the bomb blows up and turns you into soup.